Some people frustrated with Elon Musk and his involvement in the federal government are taking out their anger on his company, Tesla.
Some Tesla owners are receiving hate from others.
This is the latest setback for Tesla. U.S. regulators are now recalling nearly every Cybertruck on the road. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says more than 46,000 Cybertrucks are included in that recall. The issue is linked to a cosmetic panel.
Remember when Elon Musk smashed the Cybertruck's window with a hammer and it shattered? That moment went viral, but surprisingly, it wasn't the real problem. The real issue came afterward, when Tesla tried to build a stainless steel exoskeleton no machine could easily shape. They thought they were forging the future. Instead, they locked themselves into a design nightmare. Production fell apart, panels didn't align, and a single stuck accelerator pedal led to a total recall. What was supposed to be a bold, rugged machine ended up bleeding money, time, and consumer trust. So how did one design decision nearly paralyze an entire company? What went wrong behind the scenes that Tesla still refuses to fully acknowledge? And why are even longtime fans now questioning their loyalty to the brand? In this breakdown, we'll look at the chain of decisions that led to lawsuits, halted production, and rattled investor confidence. By the end, you'll see why even Tesla's most loyal supporters are now asking, did Elon Musk go too far? Because this wasn't just about building a truck. It became a fight for survival. Inside Tesla's massive Giga Texas plant, workers assigned to build the Cybertruck quickly realized they weren't just assembling a new model. They were wrestling with an entirely different beast. Employees reported tools breaking mid-assembly. Components had to be forced into place. Precision was required, but nearly impossible under rushed timelines. The weight of the steel stressed out robots that were designed for lighter aluminum or composite builds. It was like trying to choreograph a ballet inside a demolition site. Then came the public backlash. Early buyers started posting pictures showing glaring panel gaps, some wide enough to stick fingers through. One truck had open gaps between the front doors and the A-pillar. Others had crooked trims, warped seals, and weak weather insulation. Tesla fans, once proud evangelists of sleek, futuristic design, were now comparing their brand new trucks to 20-year-old pickups, and the old ones looked better built. Soon, data started to emerge. Reports revealed a surprising number of early Cybertrucks needed repairs before they were even delivered. Some were returned within just days. Online forums lit up with complaints. Water leaking into the cabin, paintless panels looking patchy, strange dashboard vibrations. And beneath it all, one inescapable truth surfaced. This wasn't something a software update could fix. You can't code your way out of bad engineering. Back at the factory, the situation was only getting worse. When innovation loses touch with practicality, it starts to backfire. Tesla had always been praised for its clean, minimalist interiors. But with the Cybertruck, minimalism became extreme. There were no physical buttons, no dials, not even a traditional gear shifter. Everything, from adjusting the mirrors to opening the glove box, had to be done through the touchscreen. It looked sleek in promo shots, but in real life, it was a safety hazard. Drivers had to tap through multiple screens just to redirect airflow or change mirror positions, sometimes while speeding down a highway. The dashboard felt more like a concept prototype than a finished product. And the problems weren't just visual. Some trucks couldn't keep rain out. In certain climates, road noise became unbearable. The very steel meant to protect passengers added to their discomfort. Then there was the windshield wiper. Because the Cybertruck's windshield was massive and flat, Tesla had to design a custom single-arm wiper, longer than any other on the market. But it didn't work well. It left streaks, couldn't clear corners, and struggled in heavy rain. For a truck marketed as off-road ready and apocalypse-proof, it couldn't even handle a thunderstorm. Tesla customers weren't just buying bold design, they were counting on it to work. But when that boldness became a burden, the trust started to crack. And the consequences stretched far beyond Tesla. The entire auto industry was watching closely, because this wasn't just a new truck. It was supposed to redefine the rules of safety and innovation. Elon Musk once promised the Cybertruck would start at under $40,000. That was back when stainless steel was still just a concept and optimism ran high. Fast forward to 2024, and most buyers were paying over $100,000 after taxes and options. Many early supporters, who had stuck with Tesla through delays, price hikes, and missed deadlines, felt misled. Now, they were expected to pay luxury prices for something that felt like an unfinished experiment. Some went through with it, others backed out. Then came more delays. Tesla began pushing back delivery estimates, citing quality assurance issues. Meanwhile, inside the factory, trucks began to pile up. Hundreds sat incomplete, waiting for trim fixes or final touches. Bottlenecks turned into stoppages. This wasn't just a hiccup anymore. The dream was on life support. Yet despite everything, Tesla tried to keep up appearances. They released polished press photos, staged events, and kept the narrative alive. But behind the curtain, engineers were working double shifts. Workers were being moved around. Service centers scrambled to prepare for a truck that no one really knew how to service. We went through hundreds of complaints, recall notices, and teardown images, so you wouldn't have to. And now, you know exactly why the Cybertruck failed to live up to its hype. Buyers were stuck in limbo. Some received broken vehicles. Others got nothing at all. The dream had become a punchline. Behind closed doors, engineers admitted what few on the outside knew. The deadlines were never realistic. Then it happened. One design flaw pushed everything over the edge. The accelerator pedal, one of the most basic components, jammed. This wasn't a problem that could be fixed with a quick software patch. Tesla had to do something it had never done before: stop production. The recall hit hard. Tesla was forced to pull every single Cybertruck off the road. Over 46,000 vehicles. The worst part wasn't the number. It was the timing. The truck hadn't even fully launched yet. This wasn't a mid-cycle update. This was a core failure. And the cause? Something painfully simple. The accelerator pedal got stuck on a vehicle that weighs over 6,000 pounds and can hit 60 miles per hour in under 4 seconds. A single jam could mean catastrophe. At first, the reports trickled in quietly. A few confused owners, some strange forum threads. But then came the footage. A Cybertruck accelerating uncontrollably, the pedal jammed to the floor. No floor mat obstruction, no user error. Just raw, dangerous torque stuck wide open. Tesla had no choice. They recalled every Cybertruck in circulation. The foundation of the product had failed. So for all the bold promises, futuristic materials, and ambitious designs, the Cybertruck was brought down by something as basic as a faulty gas pedal. Every Cybertruck owner was affected, and it got worse. Deliveries were halted indefinitely. Inside Tesla's Austin, Texas Gigafactory, the mood shifted from shock to standstill. Production lines stopped cold. Trucks were placed in quarantine zones. And what triggered this shutdown was even more troubling. A supplier revealed that the material used for the accelerator pedal had been quietly changed just weeks before launch. It was a lighter, cheaper composite, easier to shape and mold. But it had one major flaw. Under heat and pressure, it could warp. That warping allowed the pedal to wedge under the trim, jamming it in place. And just like that, Tesla's decision to save a few ounces ended up costing hundreds of millions. And, more importantly, its credibility. Rival automakers were watching closely. The plant that once represented Tesla's unstoppable growth suddenly went silent. A single pedal had triggered a chain reaction. Tesla's Texas Gigafactory had only just ramped up production when the news hit. Workers who were preparing for non-stop shifts were abruptly reassigned or sent home. Pallets of accelerator pedals were pulled from the line. Meanwhile, hundreds of finished trucks were moved to holding lots, left exposed to the elements, gathering dust and doubt. Tesla had promised to build 5,000 Cybertrucks a week by the end of the year. That goal was now out of reach. Restarting production wouldn't just mean swapping out a part. It meant redesigning the component, retooling the line, retesting the vehicle, and regaining regulatory approval. That process would take weeks, possibly months, and every passing day gave competitors more room to catch up. The financial damage added up fast. With each truck valued over $80,000 and more than 2,000 units parked and undeliverable, Tesla's inventory losses ballooned into the hundreds of millions. Investors began to panic. Wall Street downgraded Tesla's stock. Analysts started calling the Cybertruck a liability. And in the middle of this chaos, Tesla's workers were left in limbo. Leaked internal videos showed rows of half-assembled Cybertrucks sitting like forgotten relics. The factory, once a symbol of cutting-edge efficiency, had become a monument to overconfidence. The numbers were grim. More than $200 million in vehicles were stuck in limbo, unsellable. And for many of Tesla's most devoted fans, this was the final straw. These were people who waited 4 years, who shrugged off delays and price increases, who believed they were part of a revolution. But when their brand new trucks nearly launched themselves through garage walls, that loyalty shattered. Tesla was flooded with refund requests. Customer support lines jammed. Service centers were overwhelmed, understaffed, and undertrained. A movement built on passion had turned into a wave of outrage. Lawsuits began to pile up, first in California, then in Texas and Florida. The claims followed a similar pattern. Tesla knowingly sold a vehicle with a dangerous flaw. Evidence started to leak. Internal documents suggested that engineers had raised concerns before launch. Proposed fixes had been ignored. Journalists began digging deeper. One whistleblower claimed that pedal testing was never finalized. Another engineer, speaking anonymously, said emergency stop mechanisms were discussed, but later shelved to keep production on track. Owners started sharing their own terrifying stories. One described his Cybertruck jumping a curb while backing out. Another said the vehicle surged forward as he tried to park, nearly crashing into his garage. These weren't isolated incidents. They were recurring nightmares. And the consequences weren't just legal. They were global, reaching across borders, supply chains, and financial markets. In the middle of it all, Tesla went silent. Elon Musk, usually the most vocal figure in the tech world, disappeared from the conversation. No tweets, no live streams, no press updates, just silence. Customers grew impatient. Industry analysts called it a mistake. Some thought the silence was a legal strategy. Others suspected sheer panic. But whatever the reason, Tesla's silence wasn't seen as caution. It was taken as indifference. The company's stock dropped another 7% in a single day. Billions were wiped out. Confidence eroded, and rivals sensed opportunity. Ford launched a bold new campaign for its F-150 Lightning, targeting frustrated Cybertruck buyers directly. Rivian emphasized its R1T's off-road capability and dependability, leaning hard into the narrative of reliability. Even Chevrolet jumped in, promoting its Silverado EV as a solid, drama-free alternative. Online communities, once dominated by Tesla's loyal base, began turning. Former superfans started exploring other options, and even longtime defenders started questioning whether the dream was still alive. Tesla tried to calm things down with promises of free fixes, vague repair timelines, and deflections. But no brand can survive on deflection alone, especially one that built its entire identity on being bold and ahead of the curve. Without leadership stepping up, Tesla lost control of the narrative. The media began defining the storyline. Analysts shaped the public perception. Consumers reached their own conclusions. Tesla's most ambitious project had become a cautionary tale about ignoring warnings, dismissing feedback, and pushing forward at all costs. Over at Ford, things were different. While Tesla stumbled, Ford's electric truck strategy gained traction. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a takeover. With Tesla stuck in crisis mode, the very companies it once dismissed surged ahead. This shift wasn't just about electric vehicle tech anymore. It was about trust, and Tesla was losing it fast. Tesla's biggest threat wasn't overseas. It was coming straight from Detroit. As Tesla wrestled with production problems and legal headaches, Ford, Rivian, and General Motors moved in. Ford struck first. The F-150 Lightning, an electric version of the nation's most popular truck, dominated ad campaigns with the slogan, proven, reliable, ready now. It wasn't subtle. It was aimed directly at Tesla's weakest points. Interest spiked. Buyers who once waited years for a Cybertruck gave up and drove off in a Lightning instead. Rivian acted with laser precision. Their R1T, well-reviewed for both ruggedness and smart design, appealed to outdoorsy adventurers and tech-savvy drivers. After the Cybertruck recall, online searches for Rivian nearly doubled. And General Motors? They played it smart and wide. Their Silverado EV launched with rebates, fast delivery promises, and a focus on solid quality rather than flashy stunts. Their biggest advantage wasn't innovation, it was reliability, and it worked. Tesla's projected dominance in the US electric truck market, once expected to reach 60% by 2026, began to slide. New reservations slowed. Many Cybertruck pre-order holders either canceled or started looking elsewhere. With Tesla distracted, its competitors weren't just catching up, they were rewriting the future of electric pickups. Tesla's beta test strategy backfires. Tesla had long embraced a strategy of fast iteration. Release now, fix later. Over-the-air updates had become the brand's hallmark, capable of solving everything from software bugs to autopilot hiccups. For years, this approach was celebrated as disruptive and forward-thinking. But with the Cybertruck, that playbook finally failed. This time, the problem wasn't software, it was hardware. Pedals that could jam, wipers that didn't function properly, stainless steel panels that body shops couldn't repair. You can update code, but you can't patch a bent frame. Early adopters were furious. Many took to YouTube, showcasing misaligned doors, rattling interiors, and warped panels. One viral video titled, "My Cybertruck is Falling Apart," racked up over 1 million views in just a few days. Online forums, once buzzing with optimism, turned into digital support groups. Instead of praising updates, owners swapped DIY fixes and shared makeshift repair tips. What stung most wasn't just the defects. It was the feeling that Tesla had used them as beta testers, not customers. These weren't pre-release models. They were supposed to be final production vehicles. Internal leaks revealed the truth. Quality control standards had been relaxed to meet shipping targets. One whistleblower recalled raising concerns, only to be brushed off with a now infamous phrase, "Let the market tell us." That mindset, once Tesla's biggest asset, was starting to look like its greatest weakness. The shift was dramatic. The public didn't just lose interest. They lost faith. Cracks in the foundation. It wasn't just Cybertruck owners who were getting skeptical. Tesla's investors were too. A company once synonymous with untouchable innovation was now linked to headlines about flying roof panels and viral complaints about touchscreen-based controls. Elon Musk's silence only fueled the uncertainty. While buyers asked questions, Musk stayed focused on his other ventures, X, Neuralink, SpaceX, anywhere but the Cybertruck crisis in Texas. Media outlets took notice. Publications that once praised Tesla began running exposés. Headlines like "Tesla lost its grip" and "The dream truck that couldn't drive straight" painted a damning picture. Reservation cancellations surged. Customers were willing to wait months for a Ford Lightning or Chevy Silverado EV rather than gamble on an unstable Cybertruck. Tesla's software remained impressive, but no one buys a truck just for the interface. Reliability, serviceability, and trust had become the new standards. Even in Silicon Valley, whispers grew louder. Was Tesla still the future? Collapse at scale. The Cybertruck's production halt didn't just freeze one factory, it disrupted Tesla's entire global supply chain. In Mexico, suppliers who had ramped up production for custom Cybertruck parts faced mass layoffs. In Europe, warehouses were overflowing with unsellable inventory. Shipping contracts were paused. Thousands of trucks sat idle, some recalled, some incomplete, others waiting for parts. The backlog turned into a financial time bomb. Tesla, once admired for lean, efficient operations, was now bleeding at every stage. Shareholders grew restless. Financial analysts began downgrading forecasts. investment firms that once hailed Tesla's quarterly miracles were now questioning the company's fundamentals. Meanwhile, competitors kept moving forward. Ford increased production capacity for the Lightning. Rivian expanded distribution for the R1T. General Motors fast-tracked its Hummer EV SUV and dominated headlines. Tesla faced a massive problem. While they were scrambling to fix a flawed vehicle, their rivals had already rewritten the narrative. Legacy automakers were suddenly leading the charge on safety, reliability, and accessibility, values Tesla once claimed as its own. A reckoning, not just a recall. Tesla now faced a deeper challenge. Not just fixing the Cybertruck, but restoring belief in its entire vision. The vehicle that once symbolized innovation was now a mirror reflecting the company's growing pains. What happened next wouldn't just shape Tesla's future, it would determine if there was one. The faithful few. Despite everything, not all hope was lost. The Cybertruck didn't just attract customers, it inspired a movement. For every canceled order, there were still believers who refused to walk away. These fans weren't blind. They saw the flaws, the gaps, the wipers, the rattles, but they stayed. Because they weren't just buying a vehicle. They were buying a statement, a rejection of tradition, a vote for bold, unconventional design. To them, the rough edges didn't mean failure. They proved the idea was ambitious enough to be worth struggling for. Tesla leaned into that loyalty. The customer dashboard was updated with messages like, "We're building something no one's ever built before. Thank you for helping shape the future." For a brief moment, the mood lifted. The remaining owners became more than customers. They became Tesla's last line of defense. On social media, they countered criticism. In forums, they posted guides for seal fixes and touchscreen recalibrations. Amid lawsuits and defect videos, these loyalists kept the dream alive. But one question loomed larger than all the loyalty. Could Tesla actually finish what it started? The real work begins. Tesla had faced production hell before, but this was different. Fixing the Cybertruck wasn't just a matter of smoothing out supply chain wrinkles or tweaking software. This was a full-scale overhaul of its entire manufacturing system. The stainless steel body that made the truck so distinctive also made it nearly impossible to repair. Traditional body shops didn't have the equipment or training to deal with it, so Tesla had to scale up its own technician training, develop new tools, and build out specialized service centers just to manage basic repairs. Inside the Gigafactory, engineers worked non-stop. They replaced the faulty adhesive used on the roof trim, redesigned the oversized windshield wiper, re-engineered the accelerator pedal from scratch, testing it under extreme heat, pressure, and stress. Tesla couldn't just prove the fixes worked, they had to prove they would last. To win back trust, they offered early adopters free upgrades, enhanced software, better interior insulation, stronger exterior panels, and redesigned HVAC systems to fix climate control issues. But the service network was already overwhelmed. Wait times stretched into months. The logistical burden was massive. And the question remained, was it too late? Tesla finally listens. But it's too quiet. Tesla had begun responding to customer concerns, but by then, many customers had already stopped talking. And outside the factory walls, a new storm was brewing: regulatory backlash. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, was no longer standing by. The Cybertruck recall had triggered one of the most significant investigations into EV safety in the industry's history. Leaked documents showed that Tesla engineers had raised red flags before the truck's release. Internal messages revealed concerns about the accelerator pedal design, the strength of adhesive bonds, and the risk of water leaks. Legal experts began warning that if Tesla ignored those warnings, it wasn't just facing fines, it could be looking at criminal charges. Safety standards were being re-examined, and Tesla's entire certification process was under the microscope. Some questioned whether the Cybertruck should have passed inspections at all. Across the Atlantic, regulators in Europe delayed approvals. Safety boards in countries like Germany and the UK demanded more testing. A truck that was meant to take over the world suddenly couldn't get out of North America. Meanwhile, The legal troubles piled up. Cybertruck owners filed class action lawsuits. Shareholders accused the company of deception. Consumer protection agencies launched their own investigations. What started as a design flaw had turned into a legal nightmare with no clear end. Elon Musk breaks the silence. Amid growing pressure, Elon Musk finally reappeared in a live stream event titled Redefining the Road Ahead, broadcast from inside Tesla's Austin factory and surrounded by Cybertrucks. He addressed the situation head-on, acknowledging the pedal issue and promising improved testing. He said the windshield wiper had been over-engineered and that Tesla had learned from its mistakes. But there was one thing missing: an apology. He didn't admit to pushing production too fast. He didn't explain how adhesive issues went unchecked. He didn't take responsibility for missed deadlines or inflated promises. To many, it sounded more like damage control than accountability. Still, some investors welcomed his return. Tesla stock saw a small rebound. The company promised to resume Cybertruck deliveries by late 2025, with a version that was stronger, safer, and more refined. But would it matter? Because while Tesla was fixing, its competitors were advancing. Ford had locked down contracts with city governments. Rivian expanded production to meet fleet demand. General Motors unveiled a mid-size electric truck that undercut Tesla on price by thousands of dollars. Yes, the Cybertruck was still bold, still futuristic, still unlike anything else on the road. But being different no longer meant being better, and Musk's speech did little to restore confidence. Cracks beneath the surface. Even within Tesla, the mood had shifted. A leaked internal memo from top engineers warned that the company's culture was veering away from precision and leaning too hard into speed. Anonymous employees admitted that deadlines were prioritized over safety, and that voicing concerns often led nowhere. In boardrooms and on earnings calls, the conversation changed. Tesla's future wasn't just about bold ideas, it was now about fixing past ones. The final shift. What started as a revolution had become a reality check. The Cybertruck wasn't supposed to be just another electric vehicle. It was meant to redefine everything, from materials to manufacturing, from design to performance. Instead, it exposed the cost of ambition without discipline. The Cybertruck didn't just suffer mechanical issues, it revealed a deeper cultural flaw. A vehicle built on defiance, launched with overconfidence, and dismantled by its own hype. Tesla built its legacy by breaking rules, but this time, the rules pushed back. Still, there's hope buried in the aftermath. Production is restarting. Hardware is being redesigned. Software is getting smarter. If Tesla can demonstrate not just how to innovate, but how to build reliably and responsibly, there may still be a path to redemption. Because the Cybertruck is more than a product, it's a symbol. A bet that something radical could redefine the mainstream. And now, its survival isn't about Elon Musk or even brand loyalty. It's about whether Tesla can stop overpromising and start delivering what matters. The door isn't closed yet, but the second chance is slipping away. So now we ask you, was the Cybertruck a bold step taken too early, or a necessary stumble on the road to innovation? Can any company truly recover from a failure this big? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives. Thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing to the Timefold channel. Don't forget to like the video too.